Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015, around 4:13 in the afternoon in Billerica, Massachusetts. Still cloudy out, on and off rain showers today, and it's only in the 50s. Feels more like early April than early June. Some news to report. Vikings running back Adrian Peterson appeared at the Vikings OTAs. He had to be there because if he didn't show up, he wouldn't be playing for any other team this year in the NFL. Also, free agent wide receiver Wes Welker is open to returning to the New England Patriots, and it's official. Chicago Bulls have hired Fred Hoiberg as their new head coach. 5-year contract, $25 million. And that's about it on the news. My next subject, video blog subject, is about the Honky Tonk Man's WWE Intercontinental title reign from June 2nd, 1987 through August 30th, 1988. The Honky Tonk Man was the longest running Intercontinental Champion of all time, and it still is. Over 28 years, he still holds the longevity record. The background of the Honky Tonk Man: his real name is Roy Wayne Ferris. He's the first cousin of Jerry the King Lawler. He started wrestling in the late 70s in the Memphis territory. Under his real name, he was part of the Blonde Bombers with Larry Latham, who became Moondog Spot. And he wrestled in the Memphis territory for many years. Then he went to Stampede Wrestling as the Honky Tonk Man, using the gimmick of an Elvis wannabe. And the WWE signed the Honky Tonk Man in the fall of 1986. And the storyline says he came into the WWE from his good friend Hulk Hogan, was the WWE champion at the time. And the Honky Tonk Man was going to get revenge for Hogan on Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, but that feud never took place. But the fans did not cheer the Honky Tonk Man that much, even though he was a face. They had a contest to see if the fans approved of the Honky Tonk Man or disapproved of him. A majority of them didn't disapproved of the Honky Tonk Man. He got mad about that, so he turned heel and he joined the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, as his manager. And the Honky Tonk Man called Jimmy Hart the Colonel, like Colonel Tom Parker and stuff like that. And the Honky Tonk Man carried the guitar and stuff, and he started his heel run. His first major feud as a heel was Jake the Snake Roberts. On an addiction of the Snake Pit, the Honky Tonk Man hit Jake the Snake with a guitar. Jake the Snake was a heel at the time, and that turned him face. And then they had an awesome match at WrestleMania 3, the Honky Tonk Man versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake had Alice Cooper in his corner. The Honky Tonk Man won by cheating, but afterwards, Jake the Snake scared the Honky Tonk Man away, and him and Alice Cooper put the snake on Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart. And that feud continued through past WrestleMania 3 and stuff. Then comes June 2nd, 1987, WWE Superstars of Wrestling television taping in Buffalo, New York at the famous Buffalo Memorial Auditorium, where the Buffalo Sabres played for over 20 years, and also where the former Buffalo Braves of the NBA played for about 8 years and stuff. And the Intercontinental Champion at the time, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, was going to take some time off to take care of his wife, Bonnie, who was having their first and only child, Ricky Jr., and Vince McMahon promised Ricky the Dragon Steamboat a long title reign with the Intercontinental title. But when Ricky the Dragon Steamboat told Vince McMahon he was going to take a couple of months off to take care of his his wife and his newborn baby, Vince McMahon said, "Sure, but you're dropping the Intercontinental Championship bout." At first, the original plan was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was going to lose the Intercontinental title to the natural Butch Reed, who was managed by Slick, but Butch Reed did not no-show the Superstars taping of that night, and they had to find another heel to replace the natural Butch Reed, and Hulk Hogan suggested to Vince McMahon, "Hey, Honky Tonk Man, he would make a good Intercontinental champion." Vince agreed to that, and then the Honky Tonk Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had a match that was taped for a future edition of Superstars of Wrestling. It was a back and forth match. The Honky Tonk won by pinning Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, reversing a pin combination for the 1, 2, 3. People thought Ricky the Dragon Steamboat retained the Intercontinental title, but actually it was the Honky Tonk Man who beat him 1, 2, 3. And then for the next 14 months, the Honky Tonk Man was the Intercontinental champion, and him and Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart, or Colonel Jimmy Hart, kept the belt by hook or by crook for that long. And the Honky Tonk Man was continuing to feud with Jake the Snake Roberts at house shows and stuff, but a lot of fans were saying it would be only a matter of time before Jake the Snake Roberts would win the Intercontinental title from the Honky Tonk Man, but he never did. Jake was actually suspended in the summer of 1987 for the WWE for flunking a drug test. Then the Honky Tonk Man faced off on house shows against the living legend Bruno Sammartino, Ken Patera, Billy Jack Haynes, and George the Animal Steele, and Honky Tonk Man either lost the match by disqualification or count out, but you cannot change a title on a disqualification or count out. It has to be a pin or a submission inside the ring. Any other ways to lose the match? Without those two things, you lose the match, but you retain the title. And then the Honky Tonk Man in the fall of 1987 gets into the feud with Macho Man Randy Savage. Macho Man Randy Savage was actually a heel around this time, and actually he congratulated the Honky Tonk Man about winning the Intercontinental title from Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at the Superstars taping which they showed on an edition of Superstars of Wrestling when after Honky Tonk Man won it. And then the Macho Man was getting mad at the Honky Tonk Man, and eventually Macho Man turned face, and he faced off against the Honky Tonk Man at Saturday night's main event. Macho Man Randy Savage was with Elizabeth, and the Honky Tonk Man was with Colonel Jimmy Hart. This was a great match, back and forth, until the referee gets knocked out and stuff like that. And the Hart Foundation come in and they attack the Macho Man, and then the Honky Tonk Man's going to hit Macho Man with the guitar, and Miss Elizabeth comes in and says, "Please don't do this to Randy. Don't do this to Randy." Honky Tonk Man shoves Miss Elizabeth, and then Honky Tonk Man with the Hart Foundation, Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Hart hit Macho Man's head with the guitar, knocking him out. And then Miss Elizabeth goes back in the background and she grabs Hulk Hogan, and then Hulk Hogan and Macho Man clean house of the Honky Tonk Man and Hart Foundation, and that's how the Mega Powers were formed. And then the Honky Tonk Man and Macho Man Randy Savage for several months have a house show run for the Intercontinental title. Macho Man wins most of these matches by count or disqualification, but a Honky Tonk Man retains the title because you can't lose a title on a disqualification or count out. A lot of people were saying this was BS, but Honky Tonk Man was, getting a good reputation as being a fighting champion and stuff, retaining his title by hook or by crook. And then the Honky Tonk Man teams with 4 other wrestlers, Danny Davis and Ron Bass and Hercules and the Kane Harley race at Survivor Series 1987 against Macho Man Randy Savage, Jake the Snake Roberts, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan at the first Survivor Series. And it came down to the Honky Tonk Man against Randy Macho Man Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and Jake the Snake Roberts. And the Honky Tonk Man walks right out after three of the faces attack the Honky Tonk Man and stuff. And then Savages and Honky Tonk Man feud continue on throughout until early 1988. Around this time, the Honky Tonk Man has a new love interest, Peggy Sue, who actually was Sensational Sherry under a blonde wig. The Sensational Sherry was the WWE champion, WWE Women's Champion at the time, but the women's division was basically doormatted. They still had Sherry under contract, and they had to use her some way. They had to put her as Peggy Sue, which was kind of a wasted talent, in my opinion, for Sherry Martel at this period, but she was collecting a paycheck and that stuff. And then at the main event in 1988, February 1988, it was Macho Man Randy Savage against the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title again. And backstage, it was a plan that Randy Macho Man Savage was going to beat the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title at the main event, which was broadcast live on NBC. But a few days prior to it, Honky Tonk Man was getting mad at Vince McMahon. He threatened to quit the promotion and bring the Intercontinental title to Jim Crockett Promotions, the head NWA territory. But I don't know if that was a serious threat or not, because the Honky Tonk Man and the WWE were in contract negotiations for a new contract. And I think that was just a bluff for the Honky Tonk Man, for him saying that just to get more money from Vince McMahon. Eventually, Vince gave him more of the money, and he still didn't want to drop the Intercontinental title to the Macho Man Randy Savage and stuff. And a plan was devised that the Honky Tonk Man would lose the match by disqualification, but not the title. It was another bullshit move by the Honky Tonk Man. Savage really was supposed to win the Intercontinental title at main event in February 1988. And those plans needed to be changed afterwards to WrestleMania 4, because Macho Man was very mad that he was promised the Intercontinental title at the main event. He was so mad, and he was pissed at Vince McMahon, so they had to change the WrestleMania 4 main event, which the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase was going to be WWE champion, to have Macho Man win the WWE title to make the Macho Man happy. And then the Honky Tonk Man starts a feud with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And this feud lasts for about 6 months and stuff. And Brutus Barber Beefcake was real popular with the fans, at the WWE at the time. He was best friends with Hulk Hogan. And then Brutus Barber Beefcake had a match with the Honky Tonk Man at WrestleMania 4. Brutus Barber Beefcake says he was going to cut the Honky Tonk Man's greasy hair and stuff like that. And they have a good match at WrestleMania 4. Brutus Barber Beefcake wins by count out over the Honky Tonk Man. And it was another crazy finish and stuff. But then Brutus Barber Beefcake gives Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart a haircut, which was pretty good and stuff like that. And then Brutus Barber Beefcake and the Honky Tonk Man continued their feud throughout the spring and into summer of 1988 for the WWE Intercontinental title. Sometimes the Brutus Barber Beefcake would win by DQ or countout, or other times Honky Tonk Man would win by cheating or a bullshit finish. They had Peggy Sue come back out, but this time it was Peggy Sue was dressed as playing Peggy Sue at many house shows around this time was actually the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, in drag. That's funny, very funny. There was one house show that happened at Boston Garden, which it was taped for Nesson and stuff. After like the Honky Tonk Man won by cheating, Brutus Barber Beefcake attacks Peggy Sue, and it's revealed to be Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart, and they show his underwear. That's so funny and stuff like that. Brutus Barber Beefcake was slated to beat the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam 1988, but after so many months of Brutus the Barber Beefcake chasing the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title, the fans got bored with Brutus the Barber Beefcake chasing the Honky Tonk Man and stuff. A lot of fans says he should have been the champ months earlier, but they didn't really buy into Brutus the Barber Beefcake as a serious WWE Intercontinental title. A couple of days before SummerSlam 1988, during a preliminary match on WWE Superstars of Wrestling, Brutus the Barber Beefcake beats a preliminary wrestler easily, and when he was about to cut his hair, the Outlaw, Ron Bass, comes in and attacks Brutus the Barber Beefcake, beating him up, and then he scalps him. They have blood. The blood censors and stuff, and then they have several of the wrestlers come down and try to help out Brutus Barber Beefcake, but to no avail. Brutus the Barber Beefcake is out of SummerSlam 1988 to Saudi injuries. He was not really injured, but that was the way to get him off television and stuff like that, because the fans were bored of Brutus the Barber Beefcake chasing the Honky Tonk Man for the Intercontinental title. Then, the Honky Tonk Man comes to SummerSlam 1988 for his match against a mystery opponent, and the Honky Tonk Man was saying, bring this person out. He can beat the greatest of all time. And then the music plays. Do, 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 do. It's the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior comes out and attacks the Honky Tonk Man, delivers a slam and splash. 1, 2, 3. And the match only lasts 30 seconds. And the Honky Tonk Man's 14-month reign as the WWE Intercontinental Champion is over. The Ultimate Warrior is the new Intercontinental Champion. And after this match, the Honky Tonk Man's push as like a major heel in the WWE goes downhill. He has several rematches with the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental title, but he doesn't regain it. And then for the rest of 1989 and 1990, the Honky Tonk Man is reduced to a comedy heel mid-card act. Then he forms a tag team with Rhythm and Bruise with Greg the Hammer Valentine. The Hammer dyed his blonde hair jet black, was awful and stuff. And the Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine broke up, and they were slated to wrestle at WrestleMania 7 with Greg the Hammer Valentine as the face and the Honky Tonk Man as a heel. But it should have been a reverse, in my opinion. I think like a face Honky Tonk Man around 1991 would have probably worked, because Greg the Hammer Valentine as a face was awful, in my opinion. It would have worked great if the Honky Tonk Man was a face, but like in December of 1990, the WWE fired the Honky Tonk Man due to budget cuts. And what did I think of the Honky Tonk Man's WWE Intercontinental title reign? Even though he was kind of a chicken heel and stuff like that, he brought credibility to the title. In fact, he's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. The Honky Tonk Man rocks. He was the best Intercontinental Champion of all time. And he was an Elvis impersonator, very, very good and stuff like that. I'm very surprised that WWE has not put the Honky Tonk Man in the Hall of Fame. What are they waiting for? Until he passes away? He deserves to go into the WWE Hall of Fame because he's the Honky Tonk Man. And that's about it on him. I'll be back for the third and final video blog of the night, which will be about Andy Brickley, the personality profile, former NHL player and current color man for Bruins games on NESN. And have a good day, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And keep calm. And I'm a Julie Breton guy. Bye.